Where am I?
Look who's finally awake.
Who are you? Where am I?
Me? I'm just a curious fella who wants to get some answers. And you are in my interrogation room.
Answers? Answers for what?
Let me ask you a question, Steve. What are you?
What do you mean? You just said my name.
I didn't say who. I said what.
What kind of joke is this? Get me out of here!
Answers a question, Steve.
Are you kidding me? This question has already been answered. I'm Steve, a descendant of the ancient civilization.
Don't lie to me. The civilization went extinct centuries before you were born. There's no way in the realm of science that you're your descendant.
What?
I'm sorry. This blame is on me. I knew that you won't just tell me what I want to know. Yet, I tried to ask you anyway. So, I guess I'll just have to stick with plan A.
What's that tape?
NANI?!
No way! Please, anything but that!
Sorry, bud. Kinda begged for it.
No, 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 no!
I'm sorry you had to see that. Let me give you some context. Minecraft has lots of mysteries, but from those mysteries, one has always been there, hidden in plain sight, and answered till this very day. I'm talking about the mystery of Steve, aka the Minecraft player. What is Steve? Most people believe that Steve is actually a human who just happens to look cuboidal. If you clicked on this video, then you probably know he's more than just a mere human. Steve can jump off mountains and survive without a single fracture. He can fight dragons, ocean monsters, and the literal meaning of destruction, and not just survive the battle, but win it. Humans don't have this kind of raw power. We are not capable of doing a fraction of what Steve is able to do. So Steve is definitely not a human. But if he's not a human, then what is he? I kept researching, trying to find an answer to that question. After a good amount of research time, I was finally able to find an answer. Unfortunately, I don't have a way to 100% confirm my answer. But with the evidence I gathered, I can confidently say that this will at least convince you to a certain extent. First, let me give you a quick recap of what the modern Minecraft lore looks like. AKA, I'm going to steal Madbat's homework. Minecraft is a story of an ancient civilization, the ancient builders. Those builders were highly intelligent. They understood redstone, magic, and were able to travel between dimensions. They were the ones who built most of the structures that we find in our Minecraft world, including the nether fortresses. But they didn't stop there. The builders didn't know their limitations. They wondered how far they could go. They wanted to break the laws of nature. They tried to give life back to their dead ones. Doing so, they accidentally summoned the wizard, a creature whose only goal is to spread destruction. The builders were smart, but they didn't have what it takes to stop the wizard. The wizard was just too strong for them. The builders started to take refuge underground. They built ancient cities and caves where the wizard's destruction couldn't reach them. But living underground is not a luxury. The builders soon felt sick and tired of this lifestyle. They were once free birds, soaring through the sky. Now, they're just caged, afraid of getting their wings clipped by the monster of their creation. But there were no other options, right? Well, to be honest, there was only one option left. The builders visited the nether before, a dimension which is literal heck. They started to think, if there was a dimension for heck, doesn't that mean that there's also one for heaven? They decided to create a new portal, in hopes that that portal could lead them to this heavenly dimension, a place which is way better than the ones they are trapped in. The portal became their primary focus. They made the frame from materials which are weatherproof, and positioned these portals to be in the center of their cities. The portals were finally ready. The builders activated the portals and went to see the dimensions they had always dreamed of. But when they arrived, they only found disappointment. There was nothing. The dimension was just full of this weird blue fungus, this skulk. But the builders didn't lose hope yet. They started exploring that dimension, seeing if they could find something better hiding behind all this blue skulk. After all, you should never judge a book by its cover, right? Wrong. The cover was correct. The book was a disaster. The skulk was able to spread through their ancient cities, corrupting their golems and turning them into blind fungus monsters. These monsters were way stronger than anything they had seen before. They tried their best to coexist with them like they do with zombies and skeletons, but that was just impossible. The warden was just too strong. Once again they were trapped. They could either go to the surface and get erased by the wizard, or stay underground waiting until the next warden kills them off. There was only one option left: building another portal, hoping that whatever dimension it leads to is a place where they could at least survive. And so, they started building the stronghold, underground, away from the wizard's reach, fortified to protect them against the warden's rage. Then the moment finally came. The portal was ready. They activated it and went through. On the other side, they found the end, a dimension that's far from birth, but it was a place where they could survive. Centuries have passed since then. The builders who survived in the end eventually evolved into Endermen. At our present day, the only traces that are left from these intelligent builders are their creations. Oh, and their descendants! You see, this is where the problem lies. Steve cannot be their descendant because they all went extinct. He definitely can't be a cured zombie either, since only zombie villagers can get cured from the infection. Then, what is he? What is Steve? My theory is that Steve is not a descendant of the ancient builders, but instead, Steve is actually one of them. Tell me, how will you react if I told you that the builders were actually able to bring life back to their dead? That they succeeded with their experiment? Yes, what I'm saying is that Steve is none other than the wizard boss. Don't click off yet. I can prove it. Minecraft lore has some interesting concepts, especially the ones regarding souls. Soul energy and soul fusion are concepts which are used more than once in the Minecraft lore. Soul energy is self-explanatory. It's the energy that comes from souls. Soul fusion, however, needs some explaining. In Minecraft, there were multiple times where we see weak souls combine together to make stronger entities. Evokers combine ally souls to create their vexes. The warden has multiple souls screaming inside its ribcage. The wizard is made from the combination of tens of souls that are trapped in the soul sand. Now let's take a look at the wizard's behavior. The wizard targets all the living mobs in Minecraft. Notice that I said living, since it doesn't target any undead mobs. It only hurts mobs that are alive and have a soul inside their body. My theory is that the dead builders were indeed revived in the form of the wizard, but when they got revived, they were confused. They weren't themselves. And so they started unconsciously gathering as much soul energy as they could find, killing thousands of mobs including their own kind. They eventually got enough energy to be reborn as Steve, unlocking powers that they never had before, including their power to respawn. The energy they gathered granted them immortality, the ability to return to life no matter how many times you die. Okay, you might think that this is all just a bunch of but if you look at the similarities between Steve and the wizard, you won't be able to think that way anymore. Steve and the wizard are the only two mobs in Minecraft with natural health regeneration. Every other mob needs some sort of potion or external factor to recover their lost health. But the greatest similarity lies in the Nether Star. The Nether Star is used to craft only one item, the beacon. The beacon grants players within its radius speed, haste, resistance, jump boost, strength, and regeneration. If you pay close attention, you will notice that Steve has all these effects naturally. The beacon doesn't give those abilities to him, it just amplifies his already existing one. Listen, I know this sounds hard to believe, but all the other theories for Steve's truth are either he's a machine or he's a god. From a story standpoint, Steve being the wizard sounds like a great plot twist. The main villain, the monster that threw the builders out of existence, is the same character which represents our hero. So I guess it's time to say goodbye. Thanks for watching. Press this red button to keep that blue monster away from me. And please, tell me if you think that my series is just random or if it actually makes sense. Oh, I almost forgot.